Life is a highway. Rascal Flatts.
Nothing beats screaming songs in a car full of homies. Aaron Fuller.
Good morning. My name is Jessie Schuhlen, and I'm a sixth form day student from Longmeadow, Massachusetts. That last sentence, including your name, form, if you're a day student or boarder, and your hometown, starts most of our chapel talks and follows most introductions around campus. And yet normally, when people hear me say day student and Massachusetts in the same sentence, they seem to get very confused. Wait, so where exactly is Longmeadow? Or, so why don't you just board? Are some common responses I often hear. Jacqueline LaPlante, a fellow day student from Longmeadow, can probably attest to getting the same comments. For the record, the drive from my house in Longmeadow to Westminster's campus is about 40 minutes long, without any traffic, which seems to rarely be the case. My family's history of driving long distances goes way back in time before Westida. When we were younger, my brother, JP, a 2016 Westminster graduate, and I would make our parents drive hours for either hockey or dance, family trips, and events. My brother, of course, had to pick the one middle school that was the farthest away from our house, one located in Deerfield, Massachusetts. And I also chose a middle school fairly far away in Northampton. So you can imagine, my parents were pretty happy when I chose Westminster, as now they would only have to drive the two of us in one direction. They were even happier when my brother, miraculously, passed his driver's test, and they didn't have to make the trip up to the hill at all. But for me, I wasn't so excited, as growing up, JP and I had never really had the greatest relationship. We were typical siblings, always fighting and making fun of each other, until one of us, admittedly mostly me, would start crying and threatening to tell Mom. And yet, joining JP here as a third former when he was a fifth former changed things. Spending at least an hour together with someone each day really makes you closer. And those hours were definitely never boring. For instance, there was a time when we got in not only one car crash, but two completely separate ones in one single morning. To JP's defense, I will say there was a slight winter dusting of snow on the ground, but still not great. Or the times when I would get to Miss Nelson's fourth form English class. She lived in the apartment in Gund, closest to the hill, coming onto campus, where Miss Mann lives now. And she would say, "Wow, I really liked your music choice this morning," as JP would refuse to listen to anything other than rap at the absolute max volume each morning. Through those 2 years of driving hours to and from school every day for months out of the year, somehow we stopped fighting, and he became someone I looked up to, someone who protected me, maybe sometimes even too much. And sometimes I could confide in about my transition to Westminster. So JP, thank you for being my built-in best friend, and being the first person I can turn to for anything. I'm glad I got stuck with you as a brother, and was forced to ride with you every day for 2 years, listening to all your crazy stories. After JP graduated, my parents were again happy because I got my driver's license. The timing was perfect, and they could again avoid the drives back and forth to campus. And while I may not be as competitive as Ryan should have me, when I was learning to drive, the only thing I wanted to do was just be a better driver than JP. And for those of you who know JP, that really isn't that big of a task. I mean, we're talking about a kid who hit a guardrail on campus because there was a bee in his car. So when I got behind the wheel for the first time, I focused really hard in that empty parking lot at our local high school, going about 5 miles per hour, trying to perfect my ability to pull straight into a parking space with no one on either side, which is actually still really difficult for me to do well. And when I got back in the passenger seat, I made sure to ask my dad, "So, am I better than JP?" To which his response was, "No, you're really not that good." Thanks for the encouragement, Dad. But that's beside the point. Even though there are times I don't seem to make it home until 11 o'clock, or I'm not able to run home if I forgot something, I've actually learned to love love my daily drive to and from school. Those hours are a time for me to reflect, to think, and with the windows down and my sunglasses on, to sing every country song. Looking back, while to some my commute may seem excessive, I wouldn't change it for anything. Next year, I'm not sure how I'm going to be able to go about my day with only a 10-minute walk to Central Campus. With all the time my family has spent in the car, it's not surprising that between the four of us, we've endured 9 car accidents during my lifetime. It's become common to receive a phone call beginning with, "Everyone's all right, but we've gotten into an accident." Every time, my heart sinks, and I can only hope for the best for the people I love. Once, my brother and father flipped on the highway, and another time, an 18-wheeler sideswiped my mother and me. For all this, I've learned to make the most of the time given and never take it for granted. As I was scrolling through the many emotional VSCO posts you can get trapped in, I found a quote that put my feelings perfectly. "When you wake up today, enjoy the little things. Tell the people that mean the most you love them. Make good memories, and cherish this life we get to live. Everything can change in a matter of seconds." Thank you. And now, Scooby will sing City of Stars from La La Land.
Okay, I can't feel my face, so, okay. City of stars, are you shining just for me? City of stars, there's so much that I can't see. Who knows? Is this the start of something wonderful and new? Or one more dream that I cannot make true? City of stars, just one thing everybody wants. Here at the bars and at the smoke screen of the crowded restaurant, it's love. It's all we're looking for, it's love from someone else. A rush, a glance, a touch, a dance, a look into somebody's eyes, to light the skies, to open a world and send a reeling, a voice that says I'll be here and I'll be alright. I don't care if I know just where I will go, 'cause all that I need is this crazy feeling, a rat-tat-tat on my heart. Think I wanted to stay. City of stars, are you shining just for me? City of stars, you never shine so brightly.